90%, that's 90% of the population's been taught nothing about handling money effectively or powerfully. I mean, I'm not going to blame parents. They can't teach what they don't know.
Right.
And teachers can't teach what they've never learned. But the saddest part is I've interviewed hundreds of certified public accountants about, tell me, in your coursework, did you learn how to do a personal budget or teach your clients how to do a personal budget? Not one of them yet has said yes. I know that because I didn't learn how to balance a checkbook till I was about, 28 years old or something. And I had one of my clients was with the Franchise Tax Board, who did his own tax return. And he was an insurance client of mine. And I said, I don't know how to balance a checkbook. Would you be willing to show me? Now, you should be able to go to the bank and they could show you. And I tried that once. And the person working at the bank didn't know how to do it. Now, I'm certified as a financial planner, and I know that wasn't in my coursework either. So the professionals the public would turn to haven't been taught.
Wow.
Whether you're using a debit card, you're using Venmo, you're using PayPal, you still need to do some sort of balancing to see if what you've got is going to cover what you need. As a certified financial planner, I was taught how to help other people protect or enhance their wealth, but there was no instruction on how to create it. You need to know what wealthy people are doing. And that's what I started studying. And one of the concepts is 5,000 years old. And the funny part about it is most people have heard it. And before I even tell you what it is, I want to create a distinction between the mindset of the wealthy and the mindset of ordinary people. When ordinary people hear something familiar, like what I'm going to say, versus wealthy people, ordinary people will make a statement like, I've heard that before. That's not new to me. I know about that. Those are statements. A wealthy person, when they hear familiar information, instead asks questions like, where would that apply for me? Or how do I begin instituting that? Or who could help me with that? They ask the kinds of questions that people are taught in elementary school to write an article, who, how, when, where, why, stuff like that. They don't ask why questions. So leave that one out. But the point is, the wealthy mindset ask questions when they hear familiar information. So here's what I'm going to ask you. I said I used a 5,000-year-old secret to begin my wealth journey. Have you heard of the expression, pay yourself first? Yeah. For every dollar that came into my life, I set aside 10% to invest. And I was only earning $5,000 a month. That's why the title of the book is Wealth on Any Income. And the title of my podcast and the title of my programs, Wealth on Any Income. $5,000 a month. I take 10%, that's $500 a month. I invested that. 3 years later, I've got $18,000. I invested that with my wife and another person, because I say wealth creation's a team sport, not a solo sport.
Right.
We bought a little triplex. My 18,000 in 6 years turned into 125,000. And what I did, this is another thing wealthy people do. They use debt to create wealth. I borrowed money to make down payments on more apartment buildings with my wife and this realtor. And in 8 years, we had 50 units, 50 apartment units we owned and managed from the 3 units I started with $18,000. So I went from broke at age 50 to a multimillionaire by using concepts that are 5,000 years old and not doing it by myself.
My goodness.
And that's the reason. Those kinds of things that I finally learned and practiced at age 50 is what allows me to give away 100% of the profits from teaching other people how to handle money.
Wow.
Because I don't need it to live on. I have passive income from apartment buildings, triple net leases, peer-to-peer lending, oil and gas, you name it. And I guess that's another secret of the wealthy. They are not limited to stocks, bonds, and mutual funds.